How to build a magnetic brand and get paid to actually be you. Imagine a world where you don't have to pretend to be someone else. Nobody hired you to be someone else. You're not in the field to bring what you think people will want, because you are just you, and therefore people get magnetized to you and what you offer, whether that be an online brand or a physical in-person brand. But that brand is you and your desires, your passion. You create what you want to create, whether it makes sense or not, but people buy because they can see the passion in your eyes and because they are magnetized to you specifically. So in this video, I'm going to cover all of the tips and tricks that I have for you guys to build that magnetic brand, because I have had my own brand for over 4 years now. Before that, I had multiple businesses, but this is the first time that my brand has actually been magnetizing. Like, I have people, literally, this is where I got the idea from. I was at the shop the other day down the road and someone literally came up to me, the shopkeeper, and said, "I recognize you from TikTok. You was on my TikTok for you page." And I was like, oh my god, that is crazy. And we have new neighbors even that just moved in like a few weeks ago, maybe even a couple of months ago now, and even they have found our brand online. So when I say our brand, is both of our brands, but obviously I'm the face of the brand. It's my like creations and stuff. This is how we have built such a magnetic brand that literally anyone, like I'm talking anyone that comes across it, for some reason they end up buying, or they want it, or they start watching our videos. So the first thing that I'm going to say to build a magnetic brand around you, because everyone has that inside of them, whether you think you have an offering or not, you have an offering, and that is just you being you and your interests. If you want me to guide you to realizing what that brand is for you, what you can offer, I can create a video on that as well. But everyone in brief has an offering, and it's around their personal values, their personal skills, their personal interests. So essentially your best brand, your best business idea is you. So what you can offer the world, your interests will be your purpose. Your interests, your skills will make your purpose. First things first is your ideas always. I have been there and done that, and I have used other people's ideas. I have took inspiration more than I should have. I have looked for other people for video ideas, for product ideas, for business ideas over the last few years. And the very first time I actually started using my ideas always and just creating from my heart on what I want to create, even if it was so silly and goofy in the beginning, which it definitely was and definitely still is, that was when the brand became magnetizing. That was when actually 4 years ago we started the brand and gained 100,000 followers within the first 2 weeks of creating videos. Inspiration is good, but it's very, very, very easy to go over that fine line and get too much inspiration. So these are the lines that I've drawn with myself, because the second you start getting too much inspiration is the second it's no longer your brand, no longer your ideas, and therefore you're no longer creating from your heart and you're losing that magnetism. So the line that I've drawn for myself is I'm allowed to get inspiration for the structure, but never the actual content. So this might be, for example, a YouTube video might be the concept or like the title, roughly, but then the actual video is all my ideas, my knowledge, my advice. Or for example, in this business, a TikTok video or Instagram video, it could be making a video in a shopping mall or making a video packing an order, ASMR version, but it's never gonna be the actual theme or what it looks like or the like it's beyond the actual structure itself. That's the fine line, because when you start using other people's scripts or introductions or their style of video, their style of video is their style. It's not your style. It's not your personal creation. It's not come from your heart. It's not your personality. That is where it's too far for me. And then the videos in comparison where I've created a video based on my burst of inspiration and creativity in that moment, and I've just gone, oh my God, that would be such a fun video to make, following that passion and that inspiration and creativity. Whether it made sense or not to create that video, they're always the best videos. And the products as well, again, or when you think that would be so cool to create this type of product, that would be so cool, there is other people in the world that will also find that super cool, most likely. Okay, I don't think I've ever heard of a brand niche that would be too niche. 90% of the time, what you're interested in, someone else is interested in. If you have a problem and you want to solve that problem through your product, someone else is going to be also seeking that problem. Hence why if you've been through something, you could create a personal brand through that. Or if you need a physical product to help you with an area of your life, the likelihood is someone else in that area of their life is also having the same problem. So whether you think of the logic around it, oh, is this going to be good? Is this going to be best selling or not? Honestly, go for it. Go for it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. At least you followed your passions. But it usually will get derailed when you stop looking inside of you and you start looking outside of you. Which brings me to my second piece of massive advice that might sound generic, but let me tell you, this is so important. It's to focus on you and not anyone else or what they're doing, because the second you start focusing on other people is the second you start thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. And it led me to make one of my biggest mistakes, where I spent thousands of money in our business trying to create a new business and a new brand that I thought was more aligned. But then it was essentially just me in the end thinking that the grass was greener on the other side, because there is always, no matter what business model you go for, there is always going to be things that you will have an advantage in and things you will have a disadvantage in. So when you start looking at someone else's business, someone else's TikTok, someone else's YouTube, you will see that they have their lovely benefits, and then you will also see your negatives. But the important thing is to not act on them, because they will have their struggles and their benefits, right? And you will have yours. But ultimately, unless you are in your own lane, you are going to lose motivation. The reason their business model looks so attractive is because they're in their own lane, because they're in their own magnetism and they are focusing on themselves. I have had businesses that have copied our business before. I have had businesses that I've literally almost had to take legal action because they're copying us word for word, product for product, and actually getting views for it as well. And that is what annoyed me the most, is obviously when they're taking our ideas and posing them as their own, and then other people are like, oh, that's a really good idea. And so that is what will happen when you're staying in your own lane. People will get magnetized to you when you are literally looking inwards. So this is how I imagine it. The more you have your eyes shut and you're focused on yourself, your heart, your creation, your inspiration, your ideas, people from the outside are going to look at you glowing. They are going to see you living in your purpose and go, I want some of that. The issue is that they're not going to get some of that by copying you, because the only reason you are in that inspiration and that light and you're glowing and you're magnetic is because you are in your own bubble, focusing on yourself, and you have your eyes closed to the world. So unless they find how to do that themselves, they won't get that magnetism and they won't get their own self-discovery and their own virality unless they find that in themselves. And again, I have been there and copied other people and took too much inspiration and copied video ideas before and everything. But again, I wasn't living in that purpose and that passion. And so when you focus on yourself, you're like literally ignorant to what other people are thinking about you, which is the best part. In the beginning, I started making videos for fun about random products. I bought on eBay. And then after then I decided to make our own type of products. But it started off with me creating videos just for the fun of it. I followed that like inspiration, that play, right? I started to play and there was no seriousness there. It was only later on that it turned into a business that I had to obviously adapt to that seriousness a little bit more, right? When you start to play and ask yourself, like, what would just be so fun to create? What would be so pleasurable for me to do right now? Like, what would just make my life that little bit more exciting? What would I just love to do and actually get paid to do? And then you can just take inspiration. There might be a million things come up at once, but it's so important to not be analytical about it. Just do the things that are on your heart. Do the things that are playful. You know, if you have time to spare, that's what you should be spending doing, is playing. If you have a bit extra money spare to invest in your future, in your purpose, then use that. It's so important here that, like, I'm not going to obviously say to go in debt or any of those things. This is just playing. When you start adding the seriousness to it and the logic to it, that's when it gets a bit complicated. And then you're not focusing on you, you're focusing on, again, external things. Each time you close your eyes and you do it, take a step inwards on your idea, you get more and more comfortable with yourself. You glow more and more and more the more you listen to yourself and approve of yourself, and you create a video that you wanted to create, and you create a product that you wanted to create, and you literally, the outside noise becomes more and more static the more you go inwards, the more you jump into yourself. But you become, when you don't do this and you listen to everyone else, their voices overtake your own and you lose yourself more and more. Like, you step out of your own body more and more and more. You will lose that magnetism. And when you lose the magnetism, you lose the audience, you lose the sales, you lose everything. So although focusing on yourself sounds like quite generic advice, like if someone had told me that years ago, I'd be like, well, duh. But honestly, I don't think enough people really listen to it. Same with your ideas always. Your ideas always, and focusing on you, is essentially just you. Like, you taking action on you, taking a leap of faith on yourself. Always, 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 always doing what is on your heart and in your body, rather than logifying it, like that word I created, right? It's just like making it logical, like turning to your analytical brain. That's the second it just turns no. Just no. Like, there are some analytical things that you will need to do, but it'll be like 20% analytical and like 80% creation. Honestly, like, we came up with a new idea for a new product the other day, and it wasn't my idea this time. It was actually Aaron's idea, and he just came into me and he was like, how amazing would it be to do this kind of product, and it's in this box, and then you open it up and then it's like a surprise, and then inside there's this thing. And I was like, oh my god, I have no, like, that sounds so fun to create. It sounds so fun to buy if I was the buyer, the end user. Like, oh my god, that sounds sick. And no part of me was like, oh my god, would it do well though? Could it do well? Because I know that my personal brand in this area, if I like it, I have that confidence that people, honestly, like, guys, look at the Labubus out there right now. They never became famous until they became viral. No one wanted them until everyone else wanted them. Honestly, I think the Labubu trend has really got me thinking, like, anything can sell. Anything can go viral if the thing behind it was there. If the creation behind it was there. If the virality behind it was there. If the passion behind it was there. Like, there's some very weird and wonderful YouTube channels where people just started creating videos just because they wanted that outlet, because they weren't allowed to be it in real life. And now those videos are millions and millions of views. I mean, honestly, there's a YouTube channel out there of a guy that goes diving in rivers and makes videos about what he's found in the river. And like the whole video is just like this cool, intriguing video of like this guy diving and all the crazy things that are in the bottom of the river. Do you think he sat there and was like, is there a market for this though? Is anyone gonna watch my videos? Like, no, you bet he was out there diving in that river way before he started to create videos. And then it just so happened that he had cool GoPro footage that was like, oh, let's post it to YouTube. And then it started doing well, right? Do you think Potma in the beginning created the Labubu's and was like, yeah, let's just create Labubu's and they're gonna go viral, they're gonna be a best-selling product like ever? No, they didn't. The artist just created the Labubu's and they were like, cool, we'll sell this artwork, create it as a product, you know, do our tactics of like, you know, if you know what Potma does, they make it all out of stock. The Labubu's are super rare, you can't get them anywhere. They added that kind of logical tactic on top and then boom, they just exploded. Honestly, do you. Literally, you do you. You be Delulu and you focus on you and not what other people are doing. You create what's on your heart within your resources that you have right now. And I promise you, you will become magnetic because other people will look at you and you will reveal to them their shadow side that they're like, oh my God, I would love to be that confident in myself. I would love to just create that unapologetically like that person. And I genuinely think that that is sometimes what people think about me when I create those videos for that brand, because even people like in my family, they haven't seen even that side of me because I'm a very private person. So when they see me just showing up unapologetically, doing our products, doing our brand and everything, like low-key, they're intrigued. And same with people that I know. I've had people from my school even following it and I'm like, how did they find our videos? And I'll never know, but they watch our videos. Like I see random people watching and looking at my Instagram stories and stuff. And this is what we was talking about, me and my partner Aaron, about how like the magnetic part of a brand is genuinely when you just do what you want to do unapologetically, like as if no one is watching, and you continuously go inwards. You don't go outwards and look at the best business model, the best product, the best theme. You go inwards, like over and over and over again, and you find yourself that way as well. And that is truly how you will also find your purpose, is just taking that leap, taking that chance on yourself over and over and over and over again. And then before you know it, you're like, oh my God, life is amazing. I'm having so much fun. And even if this area of your life, like, don't get me wrong, it doesn't fulfill everything that I love, that business doesn't, because manifestation and self-development are two, well, self-development as a whole is one of my biggest values alongside creativity. So it's kind of like that fills half of it. This YouTube channel also fills a massive chunk of that as well. And so it won't always just be one thing. In fact, it might be multiple things, but joint together. Like mine is self-development, but I've got manifestation, I've got inner work, and I've joined that together with YouTube. And so most of the time, it will be all the things that you love joint together. And you also don't have to have one business and then that's your whole life. Like I said, I have two businesses. I have this one, the coaching and stuff, and the YouTube channel. And then I also have another business. And that is what creates the wholeness in my life, right? And obviously, my fiance also has other things going on that creates those wholenesses in his life. So the more you focus on you and not what other people are doing and thinking, that is where you'll find yourself, your purpose, and then you'll be magnetic. That is where you find your true purpose. So I'm not going to jabber on anymore. I hope that video helped you on how to essentially build your magnetic brand and get paid to be you instead of someone else for once. And yeah, if you have any comments or questions, just leave them down below. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.